All right. How's everybody doing? Everybody doing good? Good, good. My name is Alex Norton. I'm a consultant for Premier Linear Solutions. Before I get into that, I want to start you guys off with some food for thought. How many people here like Chick-fil-A? Show of hands. All right, okay. Most people, that's what I figured, okay. I mean, who doesn't like Chick-fil-A? That is the Lord's chicken, okay? We all know that. But did you know that Chick-fil-A is the highest grossing fast food restaurant in the country? Highest grossing. It means they make the most profit, right? I'm sure a lot of people probably figured that. It's a very, very popular place, but it gets crazier when you think about this. They only work 6 days a week. 52 days out of the year, they are off while the rest of the restaurants are working and trying to make money. And yet Chick-fil-A still the highest grossing fast food restaurant in the country. Now, why do you think that is? I can give you a couple reasons. Number one, the obvious reason, their brand. They've built a big brand. They've got brand recognition. I mean, they've got a big brand, okay? Everybody knows Chick-fil-A. When you think of chicken, that's one of the first places you go to. That helps them out a lot. Number two, efficiency. I mean, think about it. Chick-fil-A has revolutionized the drive-through, okay? I don't know why other fast food chains have not tried to emulate this. They should, if they want to be successful, is to emulate the people around you in your field that are also being successful. Chick-fil-A has revolutionized the drive-through with the way they have attendants outside going down the line faster than the cars move through the line, and then things like regular chicken sandwiches that are sold in bulk they will bring out to your car instead of waiting for you to get to the window. Chick-fil-A goes through over 100 cars an hour in their drive-through line. That's revolutionary. I mean, the efficiency alone that goes with that is unheard of. But number three, and I think most importantly, is their customer service. Biggest perk that Chick-fil-A has. I mean, it has almost become a viral running joke on the internet about what Chick-fil-A employees are willing to do for the customers. And the thing is it's not just, this is the key part, it's not just one employee, it's not just one franchise, it's not just one location. That is part of Chick-fil-A's brand, is their amazing customer service. You cannot work at Chick-fil-A if you don't have good customer service. That is part of the brand that they have built, and it's what people remember them by. And so when you think of Chick-fil-A, one of the first things you think of is their customer service and how good their customer service is. Now, with that being said, obviously I look up to Chick-fil-A a lot as an example for what success really looks like. And I use that a lot in my consulting with my consulting clients at Premier Linear Solutions. So I am a consultant. I've worked for this company for a few years. The company itself has been around for over 30 years. It was formed in 1990 by the Kai brothers, Devin and Stanley. They went to college in Chicago, College of Business, one of the best colleges in the country for business. When they graduated, they went home and they didn't quite know what to do with their degree, with their expertise. And while they're in the process of growing up and graduating and being in their mid-20s and trying to learn, life, their parents are also still growing up and they're getting ready to retire. And one of their biggest dreams was to open up a restaurant, but they didn't know where to start. They had no idea. So the two brothers decided what better way to put their knowledge to use than to help their parents achieve their dreams. So they put their knowledge and their skill sets together and they helped come up with a marketing strategy and a plan for their parents to be able to open their restaurant and live out their retirement, living their dreams. And seeing how happy it made their parents, helping them achieve their dream, instantly they knew what they wanted to do. They knew what they needed to do. They wanted to help other mom and pops make their dream come true. So they started Premier Linear Solutions in 1990. And they began helping other mom and pop shops around, the local area. And over the course of the years, 5, 10 years go down, 15 years go by, and they've kind of started to, Premier Linear Solutions has kind of started to build a name for itself. They've got a reputation for taking these small mom and pop shops and helping them open a second store, and then a third store, and then a fourth store. And they ended up getting much bigger clientele, places like Olive Garden, Fogo de Chow's luxury restaurant in Atlanta. Let's see, Longhorn Steakhouse. The list goes on of the amazing restaurants that they have worked for. They've received awards for their consulting and things like that. So Premier Linear Solution has really solidified themselves in the industry as one of the top consulting firms in the country. The great thing about this story, though, is the two brothers that founded it are also getting ready to retire. And as they approach their retirement, it makes them think of their parents and why they started the company. And they kind of feel like, Premier Linear Solutions has lost touch with their original plan and what the company was founded on, which was helping people achieve their dreams. And they've You know, they've been through the fame, they've been through the limelight, they've helped all these major companies, but now it's time for Premier Linear Solutions to get back to their roots and to help these local mom and pop shops and these local families achieve their dreams. And so they've started a shift to move the company back towards working for the smaller clients. With the amount of sponsorships and notoriety that they have, they're good on money. They can shrink the staff down if they need to, but they want to get back to the roots of what they're doing. And a couple years after that decision, they hired me and a couple of my colleagues as consultants, and that is our job, is to help boost these local mom and pop shops into a solid, solidified foundation that they can build off of and achieve their dreams, just like the Kai brothers helped their parents achieve their dreams. All right. So the client that I'm currently working with right now is Wishbone Chicken in downtown Noonan. Now, I am from downtown Noonan. That's my hometown. I was born and raised in downtown Noonan. So Wishbone Chicken is a staple to me. It reminds me of home, and it reminds a lot of people of home because Wishbone Chicken has been around for over 50 years in downtown Noonan. It is a staple of downtown Noonan. It's part of the history of downtown Noonan. When you drive through downtown Noonan and you see that big wishbone sticking up in the sky, you know exactly where you are. That is a brand recognition item right there, and it's important. It's important to me. It means a lot to me. I think that when I spoke to the owner, there was a genuine connection there of them being from Noonan and me being from Noonan, and us just seeing. We both see the potential of what Wishbone can be. They're just struggling with a few things. The biggest thing I would have to say after looking at the reviews with the owner, the thing that they need work on the most is definitely their consistency. I've got 2 reviews up here right now. We're not going to read them, but if you just skim over them, the first one, Laura Wiggum, she says that the food was properly cooked chicken. It was delicious. The only thing she said is it could have used maybe a little bit of salt. That's personal preference. But other than that, she says the food was delicious and it was great. But right underneath it, Donna Gordon, 1 star. She says, I honestly don't know what's changed. She has been going to Wishbone for years. It was a family favorite, just like it is to me and to a lot of other people in downtown Noonan. But she had one bad experience. She said there was a long wait time. She said the food wasn't that good, and she said she will never go out of her way again to eat Wishbone Chicken. Never go out of her way again to eat Wishbone Chicken, and she's been eating Wishbone for years. So think about what this one bad human interaction has done to this loyal customer. They are never coming back. And if you look at the reviews, I saw a few reviews, some about limited seating. I saw a few about, long wait times, and then I saw that the food didn't taste that good. But I also, for just as many negative reviews that I saw about all 3 of those things, I also saw the same amount of positive reviews talking about those same three things. I saw people say that the food was delivered very fast. I saw people say that the food tasted amazing and they wouldn't change anything. I saw people say that the restaurant is homey and cozy. So, for every yin, there's a yang on these reviews, which to me, when I look at that and I see that, and what I brought up with the owner was that means that Wishbone has a problem with consistency. Consistency is huge in the restaurant business because every human interaction counts. You only get one first impression. And when you're in a restaurant business or a customer service business, first impressions are everything. I'm going to bring up Chick-fil-A again. That's why I talked about them in the beginning. They have set the bar really high for restaurant standards. So I'm going to be comparing and talking about Chick-fil-A quite a bit throughout this presentation. The biggest thing about Chick-fil-A, like I said, customer service. It has become a running joke on the internet. It's like a viral, internet sensation that Chick-fil-A has amazing customer service, and it's an internet joke about what Chick-fil-A's employees would be willing to do for their customers, and it's so much so that it's become part of their brand. And no matter where you go in the country, if you walk into a Chick-fil-A, you can almost guarantee you're going to get great customer service, and that's consistency. And the thing that consistency does is it makes it to where each human interaction is the same. And when people can share the same human interactions and agree, then they know it's the real deal. This one bad review by Donna Gordon, if you think about it, how many times do you go to a restaurant and you don't have a pleasant time and you don't immediately jump on the internet and write a review? It happens a lot. So for every one review you see, you can assume there's 10 or 15 that you didn't see. The same goes for good reviews. But those reviews, they can spread pretty quickly. If she tells one person that she had a bad experience and they trust her as a source, they probably won't go to Wishbone if given the opportunity. And those people tell 2 or 3 other people. And now think about how many customers you've lost because of one bad human interaction. So, the biggest thing I'm going to focus on when it comes to Wishbone Chicken is consistency. You have got to be consistent with each human interaction that you have. These are just some of the reviews I've seen, some of the things that I think they need to work on. I've already come up with a plan. I've got a performance plan built up and ready for Wishbone, and I've been working with the owner, and we're going to make this happen, and we're going to bring Wishbone Chicken back to its full potential and bring it back to being at the forefront of downtown Newnan. Okay, so as you can see here, I have created a SWOT analysis chart for Wishbone Chicken. This highlights their strengths, their weaknesses, their opportunities, and their threats against, their competitors and just the market as a whole. So basically what I've done when I generated this chart is I took the positive reviews, put them in the strengths, I put the negative reviews, and I put them in the weaknesses. Now you'll see some overlapping here, and this is because, like I said, Wishbone's biggest issue is not necessarily one thing they need to fix. Their issue is being consistent throughout all of these things. So if you just look at let's just say their strengths, for example, made fresh to order, that's always good. People love when they know their food is cooked fresh. But what is the trade-off of your food being cooked fresh? You gotta wait for it. I'm gonna look over at the weakness, long wait times, So those go hand in hand. You gotta find a way to efficiently bridge the gap between the two and help make that your strength. Another strength: friendly staff, many positive reviews about food and quality of taste, excellent service, fast order delivery. Those are everything that I have down there for strengths, which is, like I said, there's some overlap, because if you look at the weaknesses, poor customer service, chicken lacks flavor, long wait times, limited seating. So there's some overlaps in their strengths and their weaknesses, and I think, like I said before, that all boils down to consistency. Wishbone Chicken has got to be more consistent to help those overlaps disappear. Opportunities to improve: faster delivery to customer. I mean, that's got to be number one, right? That's your biggest weakness. You gotta improve that strength. Like I said, look at Chick-fil-A and the way they have revolutionized the drive-through. Now, Wishbone Chicken does not have drive-through. That's not part of their brand. That's not part of what they do. But here's the problem: if you look at their threats, their competitors do. KFC, brand recognition off the start, brand recognition. But number two, they have a drive-through. So customers that want to get their food, even if you were to order carry out at Wishbone Chicken, you still have to get out of your car and you still have to go in there and you have to wait for them to hand you your food. So what's going to make a customer choose that over going through the drive-through at KFC or Popeyes, right? Two things. One, the quality of the food. If the food just tastes better, people are going to be willing to wait for it. Two, customer service. If you're going through the drive-through line, you might have 8 sentences worth of interaction between employees, right? So customer service is not necessarily, you'd have to be a really bad customer service person to affect somebody in a drive-through, Whereas one way you can win somebody over, if they come into your store, you can win them over by being nice, being friendly, having a smile, that good customer service. If you build a relationship with the customers, they might want to come back to Wishbone just to see you and to see how you're doing. That could be a strength. Right now it's a threat. You could take that and turn it into a strength by building off of the things you know you're good at and what you know you're built for. The threats, like I said, inconsistency with the wait staff. I'm going to talk about this again. Consistency. If you don't have good positive interactions in a place without a drive-through, you're never going to stay afloat. Like I said, with the drive-through, there might be 8 sentences. You can get away with putting somebody up there that's not the best at customer service, because there's not a whole lot of interaction and the customer's looking to get in and out anyway. They don't really care. They just want their food. Wishbone can't afford to do that. They have to have extended customer face-to-face interactions, and that face-to-face interaction has to mean more to the customer than how quickly they can get their food and get out of there. Now, based off of this SWOT analysis and based off of the strengths, the weaknesses, and the threats that I have right here on this chart, I've come up with 3 solutions that I think Wishbone Chicken needs to try to implement, and things that they need to work on in order to build themselves back up and start using their threats and their weaknesses as actual strengths against their competitor. So the first part of my plan to help Wishbone Chicken is adapt and overcome. Now, because like I've been talking about, consistency is their biggest issue, I don't have 3 specific target items that need to be fixed, especially since we've already gone over the fact that there's half good reviews and half bad reviews. The biggest thing with Wishbone, like I've said, is consistency. So number 1, Wishbone has got to learn how to adapt and overcome. For a restaurant that has been in business for over 50 years, times are changing, people are changing, the things that people demand are changing, and we all know this. We live in a microwave society. Everybody wants things instant. Everybody wants the fastest results, and that could be with food, that could be with diet and exercise, that could be with making money and saving money. It doesn't matter. It's instant. People want instant gratification, and so in order to fix Wishbone Chicken's inconsistency issues with their wait times is the 5 P's to success. Proper planning prevents poor performance. Okay, so Wishbone Chicken, I'm going to sit down with the owner, and the first thing we're going to figure out is what is the #1 most ordered item on your menu. The #1 most ordered item. Always have 5 of those hot and ready to go. 5 of them hot and ready. Even if 2 or 3 of them you don't get ordered and you have to throw them out. You're sacrificing 2 or 3 potential meals as far as costs go for turnover. More people coming in, more people coming in, more people coming in. You might have to get rid of 3 of them, but you sold 15 more than you would have before. So you're going to make money that way, and you're going to please your customer in shortening the wait times. If you're not going to have a drive-through and you're not going to have people coming through in the drive-through, you have to come up with other ways to be faster, and you don't want to sacrifice the quality of your food. So another thing that you can do, and as far as adapting and overcoming and changing with the times in order to make yourself faster, we've got a team of engineers and computer engineers here at Premier Linear Solutions. We're going to help Wishbone Chicken develop an app and a website, just like Zaxby's and McDonald's and Chick-fil-A. They all have apps. Okay, if somebody can order online on an app before they even come to the store, that gives the restaurant more time to prepare. If you have 3 orders on hand for something that takes 30 minutes to cook, go ahead and start them. You can see what you've got going on. You don't have, and then that reduces the line of people at the front, and that will also kind of help buffer out some of the inconsistency issues that they have with customer service by outsourcing some of that customer service to an app. That makes it to where you can have less interaction with the customers. That could be good or bad, depending on how things go. But in an area where your struggle is inconsistency, being able to reduce the amount of interactions can help you be more successful in the times that you need to be successful, and that's going to increase your consistency rate, and more people are going to remember that. So adapt and overcome. Wishbone Chicken has got to be able to change with the times. The same things that worked 30 years ago are not going to work now. People have changed, the market has changed, demand has changed, and one thing's for sure, speed has changed. Adapt and overcome. All right, so the second thing that I think Wishbone needs to focus on in order to help their consistency issues is an obvious one. You've all heard this before. Eye appeal equals buy appeal. Now, most of the time when people see that, the first thing they think about is food, the plate presentation. But Wishbone Chicken is not Fogo de Chow's. One, they make chicken and sides. They don't have this huge menu full of lots of selections. 2, this is not a luxury restaurant. Plate presentation, yes, while it is important, it's not going to be the staple of your restaurant, but that doesn't mean that eye appeal equals buy appeal does not apply. It applies to more than just your food. If you don't have a drive-through and your customers have to come into your store, then what they see when they walk in that door is part of that eye appeal. The little things that make it feel like something they want to spend money in. For example, let's look at Starbucks. Starbucks sells coffee. Starbucks isn't the only place that sells coffee. Dunkin' Donuts sells coffee, McDonald's sells coffee, every gas station in the world you go to sells coffee, but yet Starbucks can get away with charging $8, $9, $10 for a cup of coffee. How do they do that? Brand recognition, #1, but #2, eye appeal is buy appeal. When you walk into a Starbucks and you see that cafe setting and you hear that music playing and they've got all this rustic wooden, decor and things like that in there, it looks like a place where you would want to spend money. It makes you want to spend money. It gives you this feeling of comfort, right? And when you're comfortable, what do? You take more risks, maybe. You do things that you wouldn't normally do if you're in an uncomfortable situation. Nobody wants to walk into a restaurant that has stains on the floors or wet spots on the walls or on the ceilings and things like that. It's not going to make them want to spend money in your establishment. Sometimes you have to spend money to make money, and with Wishbone being a 50-year-old plus restaurant, there's probably some things in there that need to be refurbished. There's some things in there that need to be renovated. I'm in talks with the owner right now. One of the things we're working on is coming up with a budget to help fix those things, and it doesn't have to be huge. You don't have to renovate the whole building. You don't have to put new floors in or repaint the outside of the building. It could be little things. Get some new glasses for the drinks. Get some nice fancy glasses, maybe some new plateware, some new tables and chairs, some new decor on the walls, just things to make your restaurant feel more comfortable and feel like a place where people would want to come in and spend money. If you don't have a drive-through, you're forcing the customer to come in the store. That first impression that I talked about earlier is huge, and it's a first impression before they've even spoken to somebody. It's first impression when you walk in and you look around. What does it smell like? What are what are the decorations on the wall? Do you feel comfortable sitting down and would women feel okay coming in and sitting down and putting their purse on the floor, or are they going to feel like the floor? The little things that a lot of people probably don't think about, but they go into it, and the customer's not thinking about it really when it's second nature. But you have to be able to what's the word I'm looking for? You have to be able to tap in. There it is. Tap into that subconscious nature of the customer and make them feel comfortable enough to spend money in your restaurant. And if they don't, they might not even come in and buy food at all. But two, if they do come in, they're going to come in, they're going to get their food, they're going to sit down, they're not going to talk much, they're going to want to eat, and they're going to want to leave. Or they'll just order carry out and they'll get the food and they'll go. And that's good for that particular purchase. You got the money from that purchase, but you're not getting return investment. You're not making people want to come back into your restaurant. So number two, eye appeal equals buy appeal, and that's not just food. That has to do with your restaurant as a whole. And I am in the works right now with Wishbone Chicken's owner on things that we can do to help spruce the place up and just make it feel more welcoming when the customers walk in the door. All right, so number three on my three-part plan of helping Wishbone become more consistent is something I like to call friendly spending. And this is all about customer service and human interactions. Friendly spending. Now, this is a term that I've coined and kind of created in my career consulting, and it makes a lot of sense. When I go to a restaurant, how many of you know what upselling is? When you go somewhere and they try to get you to up your offer a little bit. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I had a waiter at a restaurant I went to. I ordered a 6-ounce steak. This man looked at me with a giant smile and he said, "Now you look like the kind of guy that would rather have an 8-ounce." And I said, "You know what? You're right. I am." And I ordered the 8-ounce instead of the 6-ounce steak. Cost me a few extra bucks, but he made me feel like that's what I wanted. Friendly spending. Sometimes you go into a restaurant and they sit down and they're just like, "Hey, you guys ready to order?" And you go, "Yeah," and you get your food and whatever, and that's it. You get what you came there to get and you leave. Other times though, you have waiters, they come up and they strike conversation with you and they're asking you how your day is going, and then they say, "Would you like to start out with an appetizer?" If I'm having a good time and I'm having a good experience interacting with this waiter, then I might decide, hey, I don't have anywhere to be. Let's hang out for a little while. We'll hang out, have a beer, maybe have 2 beers instead of 1 beer, but we'll hang out and we'll just kind of see how, the night goes. I'm having a good time here. So you order an appetizer. You eat your appetizer, then you order your main course meal. Sometimes if you're still hungry, they can get you to get dessert too. And now you've spent way more money in this establishment than you planned on spending when you walked in the door. And what was the deciding factor in that? Your friendly service. And it's not something that you intended on happening, and it's not something that in the moment you were like, if that guy wasn't so friendly, I wouldn't have bought the appetizer. That's not what you think about. It's a subconscious human nature type thing, like I talked about in the previous slide about being comfortable. When you're comfortable, you will do things that you wouldn't do if you were uncomfortable. Spending more money. So friendly spending, like we talked about in the reviews, I saw some reviews about, bad customer service. I also saw some reviews about good customer service. This is tying back into consistency. If you can consistently create a friendly spending atmosphere, then if each customer that comes in spends $5 more than they would have spent before, after 5 customers, you've made $25 more than you would have. And it's the same amount of time was spent with each customer. Friendly spending goes a long way. Have you ever met a salesman with a frown? A car salesman. Has a car salesman ever approached you with a sour face? Never. Why? Because they want to be friendly and inviting and get you to buy a car. Your waiters and your waitresses and your staff are essentially, those are your salesmen and women. Those are the ones that are pushing your product. And if you have a waiter or a waitress that's in a sour mood or is not smiling and being friendly with the customer, they're not going to get the sale. They're not going to get the sale. You got to have a wait staff that is passionate about selling. Really what you need in your wait staff is you need salesmen and women. You need people that know how to come in and upsell. You need people that know how to come in and make the customer feel at home and make that customer feel like they are willing to spend more money than they initially walked in planning on spending. a smile goes a long, long way. Have you ever gone and met a famous person? How many of you have met a famous person and you go up to meet them and you had this image of them in your head your entire life, and then when you meet them, you just caught them on a bad day? Let's say you caught them on a bad day and you ask them for an autograph and they huff and puff and they roll their eyes, or they might just real quick scribble the autograph down and then bye, see you later. And then for the rest of your life, you're going to walk away thinking about that person differently. Where on the flip side, you might meet a celebrity and you see them and find out, wow, this person is so much nicer and more humble and more friendly in person than I ever thought they could be. And what happens then? It becomes inspiring. It becomes inspiring. And if you have a customer that comes into your restaurant and the first thing the waiter does when they walk up to them is smile, give them a compliment, ask them how their day is doing. You know, some people probably come into your restaurant, and if your waiter asks them how their day is doing, that might be the first time all day that somebody has took the time to ask that person, how are you doing today? That could go a long way with some people, and that would make people, that builds a connection between staff and customer, and that's what makes people want to keep coming into your restaurant. And then with you only having one location, you're going to have a small staff. Eventually you're going to have some regulars and you're going to have some familiar faces, and they're going to get to know your staff, and then that's going to build a relationship on its own, and those people are going to have friends that they want to bring in to this friendly environment, and they're going to want, hey, you got to meet my waitress friend that works at Wishbone. She's so sweet. She always makes my day. She knows exactly what I want when I walk in there, and I love going in there to see her. She brightens my day every time. That's huge. And now they're bringing more people into it, and that's just going to give that one particular waitress more opportunities to shine and enlighten somebody else's day, which is the ultimate goal of customer service, is to be better than you were yesterday and to make the world a better place today. So friendly spending, you got to keep friendly spending in mind. When people are happy, when people are in a good mood, when people are comfortable, they're more willing to spend money than if they walk in and feel like it's a chore or they feel like they're not wanted there. All right, so thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you guys so much for listening to me. To summarize, Wishbone Chicken, I think, has already got a nice big platform that they're standing on. They are the staple in downtown Noonan of fried chicken, and they've already built quite a solid foundation to be standing on. However, in recent years, underneath that foundation, you're starting to see some crumbling. There's starting to be some falling apart, a couple of negative reviews that you never want to see as a restaurant owner. And me being from downtown Noonan, I felt like it was the right thing to do, to jump in and try to help Wishbone get these things corrected and bring them back into the forefront of fried chicken in downtown Noonan. Those three things: adapt and overcome. You know, this is a 50-plus-year-old restaurant. The same things that worked 50 years ago are not still going to work today. They have to be able to adapt and overcome, change with the times, and be able to keep up with such a rapidly growing and moving market. Number two, eye appeal is buy appeal. This always pertains to food, but it doesn't just pertain to food. When you have a 50-plus-year-old building, I'm sure there's some things in there that probably need to be renovated and refurbished. When a customer walks in the door, they need to feel at home, they need to feel comfortable, and they need to feel a sense of upkeep and cleanliness. You know, and it doesn't have to be huge. You don't have to break the budget. I talked about this. Just get some new glassware, get some new plates, maybe some chairs and tables, just some things that are going to make the customer feel like this is a nice establishment and this is somewhere they could see themselves hanging out and spending money. And number three, friendly spending. Your customer service is everything. Like I said before, have you ever seen a car salesman approach you with a sour face? No, you have not. Car salesmen are some of the most friendly people in the world. Whether that be fake or not, they are some of the most friendly people in the world, and they do that because they want you to spend your money. If you have a waiter or a waitress who should basically be your salesmen or women, the ones that are pushing your product, if they could just come up and ask, how has your day been? That could go a long way to somebody who you have no idea what kind of shoes they've been walking in for the last 24 hours or a week or 2 years or whatever. How is your day going? Greet them with a smile. Make them feel at home. Make them feel comfortable, and I promise you they will spend more money while they're there. Friendly spending. Please, please, everyone on your way out, please grab a business card and a complimentary Premier Linear Solutions hat. If you or anybody you know wants to start up a restaurant, or they already have a restaurant and they're starting to see some negative reviews feed in, and they're starting to get a little disgruntled and they're starting to feel kind of demoralized about what's going on, please, please do not hesitate to call the number on the business card. It will take you to our office where you can ask for me or any of the other consultants on this card, and it will transfer you to our extension. You can't go wrong. All of these consultants are great. Tatiana Brooks, Logan Cox, Autumn Leons, Maya Harris, they're excellent, excellent consultants. They're very smart. They're very good at what they do, and you cannot go wrong with calling any of us. So please, please take a card, take a hat, have a great rest of your day, and I hope you decide to work with Premier Linear Solutions in the future. Thank you.